Lastly, Alice, do you hold any position in a political party?
Not at all.
Not at all. Have been adversely mentioned in any integrity-related report or investigations by any agency?
Not at all.
Not at all. Do you hold citizenship of any other country apart from Kenya?
No, only Kenya. And I have no interest.
What is your net worth?
That one I need to be my net worth is about, where is that document? It's about 300, net worth is about 300.
You don't know your wealth of head?
No, not of, it's mine and my husband. So maybe what? It's 300 and what? 327,650,000.
How much were you worth when we last vetted you?
I was worth slightly less. When you vetted me, Mr. Speaker, last time, I was worth 218,400,000.
You have had some nominal growth.
Kidogo.
You've grown by 100 million.
I have grown in those 2 years.
Yes.
Yes. I was just a few adjustments. It is the properties that have increased in terms of appreciation in value, and then there was one tenant that was not paying my family rent, and they paid about 14 million, about sometimes in March. So
did you use your office to get them to pay?
My office of MP, of minister?
Yes.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Thank you,
I'm
Alice.
not the one who corrects the rent.
Thank you, Alice.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
We have checked your documents and we find them to be correct, except you can tell us there were 9 memoranda against in response to you. Did you respond to them in writing? The clerk.
And I would ask that the committee adopts my response.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Unless you are lawfully held.
Thank you very much.
You are released to go.
I'm free to go.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's a relief, Honorable Speaker.
It's a relief?
It's a relief. You know, I am jobless and I need the job. This is since 1985. This is one unique time when I am jobless. So, and I do appreciate the opportunity to be before the committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alice.
Thank you.
Members, I give you a 20-minute lunch break. How much time? You have 2 others to go. Have a distribution of functions between the national government and county governments. You have the responsibility for housing policy and the general principles of land planning and the coordination of planning by the counties. For the period you have been minister in this docket, have you ever had a meeting with county governments to discuss the issue and coordination of planning by those counties? I ask this because if you look around the country, we have completely misstepped, so to speak, in our planning and land use activities. Anybody with the land touching on any road just wakes up and builds a shop. In the old days, if you look at all the urban areas and markets, they were designated, meaning it is possible to easily provide security and amenities such as water and everything else. What have you done, and if you are confirmed, what do you plan to do to effect this constitutional responsibility?
Honorable Chair, it is not the easiest to actually work with county governments, you know, and for government, national government has been having its own challenges in terms of intergovernmental relationships. On my part, I haven't had a meeting with the county governments as a whole, but we have worked with different county governments or governors in terms of their planning. And they have brought their planning documentation to the ministry, and for sometimes for even for support in terms of that planning, and ensuring that it meets the thresholds that are required. I think going forward, I would say that it is necessary that I meet the county government in terms of the institution itself, the COG, so that we can agree. But they also think that the national government is encroaching a lot on their mandate, and they refer a lot to Schedule 4. And I do agree that quality standards, regulation, and of course capacity building is some of the things we are doing under the Kenya Urban Support Program. Within that, my ministry before me has held several meetings with the county, with the COG, and the CEO of COG has been a constant, and I think she's done a good job for the county governments. Yeah, has worked well with my ministry.
Some Kenyans sending messages to us.
Yes.
Why did she take sides with the Kirima's land dispute when she came into office?
I didn't with the Kirima land. I took side with the owner of the land. It could have been any other person. And when I pronounce myself as to ownership, sometimes it helps in terms of dispute resolution, and that is what it is. My task is to say who is the owner, and I said that it's a long dispute, and at that time there was no outstanding court case.
Another Kenyan says the nominee has declined to answer a question from Dawood on how fees was increased from 300 to 3,000 without public participation. Another one says implementation, this is actually a member of parliament called Andon Olwoj, that you've ignored the implementation of decisions of the House of Parliament on matters that have been brought to your attention following decisions in the House. Another person called MacDonald Walbengo says, why has the ministry not processed titles to public institutions and schools? Because my grandfather donated land to a school, and to date we are unable to get our own title and give the school the title on the land we donated. That's a very good Kenyan. Other Kenyans would go to grab the land back. Another one says, who are these cartels with government documents that the minister is talking about? Another one says, rich people are buying land from less fortunate people, transferring the land and refusing to pay. What is the minister doing about that? Those are comments from Kenyans.
I think for schools, it's an important, very important question.
Is the one of the schools.
Yes, we have titled over 14,000, going to 15,000 title deeds for schools.
And I actually, Alice, know of a school.
Yes.
That was given land by a generous person, and his grandchildren over 50 years later came because the school had no title, took away the land, and kicked out the school. Yeah,
I think previously the institutions did not not just schools, actually most government institutions, and maybe that is one of the tasks that we should achieve, do not have titles for those properties. And the titles are supposed to be produced and held.
If you are confirmed, can you have a Marshall Plan to issue title deeds to all public institutions within a year?
Okay, those without issues, it is possible.
Yes, proceed.
As you emphasize on that public institutions, I want to add, including KICC. Yeah, thank you, Speaker. You know what I mean? Yeah. Including KICC.
Honorable Speaker,
you know that, go on.
Sorry?
You know that, and go on.
As she knows. Thank you, Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, let me clarify on schools. We have over close to 15,000 schools that we have under our program. There is a program for titling of school titles, you know, and we have covered close to 15,000. The total is about 31,000. So I think we are on course. Possibly we need to expedite in terms of that. A few have disputes about 1,500, but the balance we are working on, a balance of another maybe 14,000. Ruoch says I have ignored the House of Parliament. I am not aware of any area that I have ignored. Maybe it has not been brought to my attention. And should I be approved, I would want to engage him personally or get him to. Yeah, I know him. I don't know what he's referring to. The fees that the member of the public, and it's important, is there was elaborate public participation. The fees of 300 shillings, 500 were fees that were for 1980. Prescribed, you know, when the act was actually, basically it's over 20, 30 years. And so we reached a point where we reviewed, and there was elaborate, and there is records of public participation. And I would also seek that Kenyans agree to support, because it's their government. Yeah.
Alice, you are so wordy. If there was public participation, just say so.
You know, Kenyans out there have said I haven't answered.
Yes.
Yeah, so I want them to understand, you know. Yeah.
Lastly, Alice, do you hold any position in a political party?
Not at all.
Not at all.